To the almost weekend. Happy Friday, everybody. It's 7:24. It's Friday, and it's school's back in session, and it's time for Triple P with Trisha, brought to you by the Triple P Positive Parenting Program. And, of course, you can always find out more at tripleplelkhartcounty.org. You're going to want to hear that again at the end of the segment, very possibly. We'll give that again. But, Trisha, Happy New Year.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Hi.
How are the 2020s going for you? Are they more bringing things into focus more sharply? We'll never get tired of those 2020 jokes.
Yeah, there's always something that's being brought up, and funny, like, is something coming into focus a little bit more. The other day, my husband showed me this meme, and he says, the meme says, like, 2050 is just as far away as 1990.
Oh my word!
And I was like, ouch. Oh, my word. I remember the 90s.
Ouch.
I was an adult in 1990. Barely, but I was officially, technically. Wow.
So that actually was the most focused moment about 2020 I've had so far.
Oh, my word. Wow.
It's like that.
Okay.
Speaking of focus, I'm going to make a cinematography joke. Like, it's that moment like in Jaws where the sheriff is on the beach, and they do that like camera trick where it like makes there's some vertigo thought.
Yeah,
that he sees the shark.
Yeah,
and it's like, ah! That's the moment that he realizes the danger.
Wow. Well, 2050, here we come. First 2020 though. Yeah.
And I love the new year. And I think it's always a great time to make fresh starts, like many of us do with New Year's resolutions and everything. Mm-hmm. And over, you have Christmas break, and you've got the New Year's break with your kids from school, and it's such a great time to spend time with your kids. And, there's that blessed time where you've got so much time with them that you're like, okay, you guys can go back to school now. Sometimes that's really refreshing. But I think it's a great opportunity for us to go ahead and think about getting that fresh start even within our family. Like, take some time to get a fresh perspective of like, okay, what kind of relationship do I want to have with my kids?
Time feels like it's rushing by.
Yeah.
And I think the most poignant way that happens is as our kids are getting older.
Yeah.
Like, they'll never be 4 again, or whatever age.
Yes.
They'll never be 14 again. They'll never be 24 again, whatever age they're at.
I remember getting a lot of advice, and like the grandmas would always tell me, enjoy these years. It's going to go by really quickly. And I remember when my kids were 3 and 4 and 5 and 7, and I'm like, these years aren't really going super fast for me. I wasn't like hating them, but I'm like, they're not going fast like you guys are saying. Now with my kids in high school, I'm like, oh my word, I only have 3.5 years left.
Aww.
Where did it go?
You can see how grandparents often really soak it up because they've been through that.
Yeah.
And they've learned, and they're like, I'm just going to soak this up. So, yeah. But the cool thing is there's things you can do now as a parent, whatever age your kids are at.
Correct. Yeah. So my challenge today is to encourage all the parents listening, grandparents, caretakers, foster care families, find ways to enjoy the kids that are in your life. And then find ways to focus on the positive and build a really strong relationship with them as much as possible. And I just want to throw out a couple tips on how to do that, because sometimes when we're in the grind and we're going through challenges with our kids, whether it be behaviors or developmental struggles, like it can be hard to get out of that negative rut sometimes. So I encourage you guys to find different little things about your kids that you really enjoy, and enjoy the age and the stage that they're at. Don't look at 2-year-olds as like, oh, this is going to be awful, terrible twos. And, puberty, teenage years are going to be just terrible. Like,
let's get rid of the phrase terrible twos. Yeah, let's replace it with terrifically challenging and wonderful twos.
Because let's be honest, it's more the threes.
I agree with that. I think it's definitely more the threes. So some of the ways we can bond with our kids is by spending time with our kids.
Yeah.
It sounds very common sense. And a lot of times parents are like, yeah, but, I work full time. I've got 2 jobs. They come home. We've got chores. I'm a single mom. I'm a single dad. I get that. I feel that. But when we talk about spending time with your kids, Triple P is not talking about just having, 2 or 3 hours a day with your kid, or, 40 minutes at a time. It talks about encouraging parents to take small, brief, and frequent times with your kids. So it's taking 10 seconds to like a 1 minute when your kid
A moment,
approaches you
sometimes,
to share about the drawing and just focus on them for that time. That's actual quality time when you turn and give them all of your attention.
instead of just going, oh yeah, that's beautiful, and then
Yeah.
continuing on with whatever you were doing.
Exactly.
A thought for me too is like anything in life, it's about the eyes that we have to see and how we see things. So let's ask the Lord. For those of you who already know the Lord, I think most people listening do, let's ask the Lord to help give us eyes to see how precious that time is, how therapeutic it is. You know, like when I go to spend time with the Lord, I don't want to be like, oh, time to make the donuts, time to I got to get my prayer time. It's like I get to go before the King,
Right.
and He is a healer, and with our children, you know, not like, oh, I guess I should spend more time with my kids, but let's ask the Lord to help us see it and say, wow, I get to spend time with my kids and soak up. It's therapeutic, you know, for you too. It can be some selfishness tied in there too. It's therapeutic to be with your children.
And when you're thinking about spending time with your kids, again, I encourage you to think about the time you already have, like within the normal everyday to-day tasks.
That's good.
So even, you know, driving in the car, some families are really chatty in the car, some families are really quiet.
Right.
So like figure out what you're already doing with your kids. Find your strengths, and then make those strength zones stronger.
I think smartphones and other devices have increased the quietness level in cars because people are kind of soaked up. But sometimes, but I love that. So can you say that tip again? Like use the time that's already in your day, the togetherness that's already there.
Yeah, like brushing your
Redeem
teeth.
it.
You're teaching your kids how to brush their teeth. Oftentimes we have to remind them how to brush properly. So maybe go ahead and brush your teeth with them. Now, demonstrate, model how to do it. Make goofy, ridiculous faces for 2 minutes in the mirror. That's some quality time with your kids right there.
There might be a little bit of a communication barrier during the actual toothbrushing.
But you know what? You could have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another one would be showing some interest in the things that your kids are interested in. This is especially really powerful with teenagers. So a lot of times parents feel very disconnected from teenagers because their likes and dislikes and interests change so much.
Change going on.
Yes, and like the websites they follow and the jokes they think are funny, like it's so off the ball, crazy sometimes. It's hard to relate. But as parents, it's important for us to go ahead and put our likes and dislikes aside for a moment to have that simple conversation with our teenager. So for example, my oldest son is into this very particular video game right now. Don't ask me what it's called. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you what the purpose of this video game is, but I started to ask questions. I was like, okay, I'm trying. It took a lot of effort. I'm like, why does your person look like he, has gas for a face instead of a face?
Right.
Like,
where's this person's face?
Like a cloud of gas.
So do something to get the conversation started, not to accuse them saying that their interest is dumb or pointless, but just out of general curiosity and have that neutral, non-threatening question.
That's good.
And it's been amazing to see now every
show
day
interest.
Show interest, because now every day if I come home and he's been on his game before I get there, he's like, Mom, come see what I did today. Come see what I've earned.
Yeah, that's priceless. That's great.
Let me ask this. I'm gonna confess that there's one of those things in our children's lives, and I'm like not a fan of it. And I find myself trying to redirect them into something else that I think is more worth their time. And I kind of feel guilty about that a little bit. Like, how can I balance that feeling? Because I don't think I'm crazy. Like, I really think that that thing is like, okay, hopefully they'll grow out of it. But I'm sensing that they're not. And I'm like, all right, it's time to move on from this and get interested in something else. Like, am I totally wrong there? Because I'm willing to be. I just find that kind of a difficult place to be in that I'm in right now.
And I completely feel where you're at. Because, like, for video games, and I want to make sure I clarify this well, like, it's frustrating when we see something, especially with maybe our personalities. Time wasters are time wasters. You could do something else with your limited time. But it is interesting to them. And especially with, like, video games. It's never been a secret in my family. I think it's a completely pointless waste of time. I think they're dumb. But that's me. That's my personality. I didn't grow up with that stuff. So like you said, just actually until maybe this last year and a half, I've actually been able to accept the fact that this is valuable to my son.
That there's a lot of pointless dumb things in life.
Yes, but I still have boundaries and limits.
Yeah.
Like, I will
for
listen
sure.
to your interests. Let's talk about this. Let's make sure your video games are appropriate. These ones concern me. This is why we can't have
I'm glad
them.
you're strengthening your eye-hand coordination to a point. At a certain point, there's diminishing returns, but yeah.
What I don't want to do is I don't want to come across as them thinking that I don't think they are worth my time.
Right.
Because I don't think that the thing that they're interested in maybe is worth their time. Like, I don't want them to think that that's about them.
Right. And that can be challenging. So I'll just share my life example again. So one of the ways I was able to help overcome that challenge within my own personal thoughts towards my kids' video games was they get designated free time after school every day where they don't have to do chores or whatever, and they can have this pre-approved time with pre-approved stuff.
Nice.
And that game is within that. So that helped me overcome this waste of time because that's how they're choosing to spend their free time.
Give it some parameters so that it doesn't quite overflow into everybody else's life.
That makes a lot of sense.
So
I have a bonus question for you, Trisha.
Okay.
Have you ever played the video game with your son?
That particular one, no.
Okay.
He has tried. I have attempted several other games,
Okay,
and
good
it's
for you.
so incredibly frustrating for him. But it's all good times.
So spending time with your child, showing affection, or I guess I don't know if you've gotten to that. Yeah.
We didn't, and our time's up, so I'm going to respect that. But I'd like to talk about some of the upcoming events we have, and we have a lot of them happening right now, especially at Yellow Creek Mennonite Church in Goshen.
A wonderful place with wonderful people. Yeah.
Yes, and it was fabulous.
A big place. It keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, I went to 3 different doors before I got to the right one.
Right. Yeah. It's a wonderful place. So everyone's invited.
Everybody's invited. Children are invited. They're serving a dinner beforehand. So I encourage you to go to elkhartcounty.org, look at the events, find the topics that you're interested in, and the time. If you want to come for dinner's early. I think they're asking for a very small donation towards dinner.
Okay.
But very lovely people, very lovely space and activities for your kids to do.
Love that church.
So check us out again at elkhartcounty.org to figure out more about it.
And there's always more good stuff. And there's only so much time here on Triple P with Trisha, but you can always find out more at elkhartcounty.org again. And we appreciate Triple P Positive Parenting Program. A lot of resources there for you. Trisha, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Trisha.